Good morning, LinkedIn friends, Value First Nation. Welcome to another episode of Value First AI Daily, your collaborative intelligence report. It is Friday, January 30th, 2026. How are we doing, George?
Chris, doing good. Doing good. It's Friday. I was up late last night, enjoying life, working on a project for a client. And not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Because it was AI empowered, it was Claude Code and it was education and learning and a course platform with videos. And I just was, brother, I just was nerding out in all my glory. And I think some of that residual like enjoyment of that is still with me today. I get to talk to the human and show them what's locally on my machine. And yeah, it's just I'm doing good. It's good times as far as what we can achieve, what we can believe, and kind of who we can be in this world. How are you doing, buddy?
I am doing great. That was probably the best setup ever. And we didn't script that, folks. Today's commitment number 7 from Value First AI Manifesto. We will develop AI that empowers everyone, not just experts.
Yeah.
We value democratized access to capability. We will create AI systems that augment all people's abilities rather than building tools that further concentrate power.
Mm. Mm.
Um, there is an element of all of the value first framework that is kind of like we can own this if we want, but it's coming, right? Like
Yeah.
AI is bringing it. AI is democratizing stuff whether we want it to or not,
Yeah.
right? So we have a moment where we can be intentional about this stuff. And this is a good example where we've been talking about consistently this activation that's
Yeah.
been happening when you show people a stack of Cloud Code and GitHub and Vercel and just like being able to talk to um, and collaborate with AI and then have it get to proof of concept in a way that we were never able to before, like
Yeah.
is the opposite of, oh yeah, we don't really know how the website works, so we got to go to this guy to get it fixed.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that the CRM, like we've got all this workflow stuff happening. Like we got somebody else helping with that. So if something broke, we gotta go get that lady, bring her in to help fix. Like that stuff
Mm.
is going by the wayside, and a key difference, um, the freedom that I see this creating, where it's different than software from the past because like even when you show HubSpot to somebody for the first time
Yeah.
and it's new to their process, it's like you might get involved, you might get excited and addicted for like an hour or two, like just be clicking around, learning how to use it, and then you're like, okay, got to get back to my real job, and maybe
Hmm.
next week, next month, I can figure out how to work it in to the process.
Yeah.
What we're seeing now is whenever I've activated anybody, I think the same is true for when Nico activated us.
Yep.
You don't go back. Like
No.
it's like there's no you the thought is, why would I do it any other way? Right?
Yeah.
And
You
it's just
might.
build, 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 and it just
Yeah. You might step to the left or the right. Like you might find some places where you head into, then you're like, oh, hang on. Like maybe take a step back, one step, go right, and move in this other direction. Because if you get activated, you end up kind of almost I'll call it play. Like you end up playing and you're testing things, and you realize some tests work, some don't. A great example of this is I now have officially learned how to install Moltbot, what used to be Clawbot, on my system, and I've also learned how to uninstall it from my system. Like, but I wanted to play, I wanted to test, I wanted to see like what I could, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to my Cloud Code because we were having a good party. And man, what I got into, while it could be cool and I could keep going down that road, like I think I was almost where everybody was excited about this anyway with what I was just doing. And so anyway, Chris, can you bring that back up on the screen though? Because my brain went in another direction because I think the hardest part is knowing what you want. Let me explain, right? So, first of all, again, we will develop AI that empowers everyone, not just experts. Well, what do you want to be your superpower? How do you want to be empowered? What kind of expert do you want to become so that you can share the expertise that you already have? Like I've already been an expert at HubSpot and podcasting and video marketing. I say that humbly, by the way. I am not bragging, but Claude Code, becoming an expert in that process and being activated has enabled me to share and show more of my talents in faster ways to more humans. So I think, again, the hardest part is what do you want? We value democratized access to capability. We will create AI systems that augment all people's humans abilities rather than what do you want your abilities to be? You see what I'm saying? Like you have to be in the driver's seat of rule number 7 to how do I want to empower myself to become an expert at a thing to launch. It's like super speed, the expertise or the human that I already am.
Yeah.
That takes time, ladies and gentlemen. And so I'm not saying don't just get activated and start. I'm saying get activated and start, but start with maybe a play project until you actually sit down and this is going to sound old school to some of you, but strategize, come up with the goals around who you want to be and for who you want to be that for. And then start to run in a very focused, intentional direction. Trust me, from somebody who's done this, it is going to be very easy to immediately try to build 7 things. I would suggest that might lead to burnout. I would suggest that would leave you being frustrated because now you have 7 projects that are half done. Focus and intention on the empowerment and the place that you're trying to go.
Yeah. I think a lot of it's going to come from like articulation of what you want to. And that's where the lack of democratization of this, right? People are used to needing to go to somebody else to get the thing done that they want. And since everything is tool based, like an example that comes to mind, and the difference like that we're trying to describe here is like if you're a salesperson, and you say, I need to make some slides, right? That AI can help you do that. But are you like, that's not different from what you were doing before. Like you could have made the slides, right? But when you show up and say, I need to make a really visual, engaging presentation to my next client or to my next prospect, like help me do that. And that's when you get to your own website with pages on it that the client, the prospect can interact with. And now have dramatically, like, that's a brand new capability that you didn't have.
Chris, can I give an example?
Please.
Because, and I'll share my screen. Let me go ahead and put this up just as an example. So here's the thing. It's knowing what you want. So yes to what I said, but it's also asking for there to be flexibility and freedom of what you might not know what you need. Okay. And what I mean by that is, I'm creating this thing, and I knew that I needed to bring this person's information into one area around emotional intelligence. And I knew that I needed to create a platform that was like courses, modules, lessons. So I knew the structure that I needed. I knew the context that I needed. I knew the goal that I was trying to achieve. And I also knew some things that I wanted to stay away from, like them having to download everything. And I wanted a better experience. And so, Chris, one of the emails that I sent to the client, and I said, maybe my favorite line of this entire project, and I stole this from Nico, but I said, hey, now what I want you to do is I want you to act like your exhibit on Pimp My Ride, and I want you to pimp this experience. And so, Chris, we ended up with this thing where when we get into an actual lesson, and I put placeholders so that I can share this and they understand the video will be there. But when we get to the actual lesson and we look at this awareness audit, it's not that you download a PDF, it's that you open an interactive worksheet. And so now they're literally going through the course and they can be like, oh, well, I'm a 6 or I'm a 3 or I'm a 9. And so like you talk about death to, PowerPoint or like the slides side of this. I'm saying like the entire experience could be something that you never even thought of. And then you can get down here and allow them to download their responses or even print their responses from this interactive sheet. They didn't have to download it. They didn't have to go hunt and find a pen. They just were able to stay in the moment, stay in the learning. But I didn't think of like, hey, let's have an entire page that's an interactive, which by the way, it knew based on what we had done previously, like there's one of those for every lesson. And there's an activity for every lesson. And there's a quiz for every module. Right. And so it's like, again, the ability to know what you're asking for setup, but the freedom to work symbiotically and let it be an expert when it should be the expert and you be the expert when you're supposed to be the expert. And then this is when you get to magical things.
Yeah. Man, how cool is that? Like, and like that's the kind of thing, like, to have had to explain that, like, and this is why things like this just have not come into existence before. It's not about George might have done that and it would have taken a month and maybe he gets it done. Like, no, very unlikely, because it would have been this conversation. It's like, okay, now we're on this page. You got all, like, so what do the answers need to look like? Okay, we got the colors, but when we hover, are we changing that? How
Right.
is each like element on the page going to work? Right. And instead, like what you say, like understanding the outcome and the goal that you want. When you use words like interactive, engaging,
Experience.
one of my favorite phrases to use and end on is like, do this in a way that puts everybody in a position to be successful. When I give that instruction, like, it's like, that's where I don't know what's possible in most of like web interactivity and that whole domain. It's not my expertise.
Yeah.
Where I have found some expertise is you don't get to that place where everybody has a chance to be successful unless you say that in intent and that intention and that comes out of your mouth,
It's
right?
funny, Chris. It's. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but my brain is going 100 miles an hour because what I think is interesting that we're knocking on the door of right now, and what I would beg people to do when they're working with their AI assistant, I would beg you to say the thing that you're afraid to say out loud. And what I mean by that is imagine that you're working on an educational platform, a course, something like that. And you literally use the words of, as we start to build this, I don't want it to be historical education for memorizing. I want it to be presented and created in a way where they're retaining and taking action. The experience, by the way, like, I'll just stop there. School system, but the experience would be completely different what your AI assistant would kick out because you're willing to say the words out loud that are in your brain anyway. And so use different terms that just make sense for the outcome, not the world we live in right now.
Yeah. And not the way that you've had to do it. And this is where leaders need to, they've got to play their role here in terms of, like, when you show somebody, and even as it took me a minute to get into the command line, right? I started with
Yeah.
Cloud Code for web. I thought it was easier. Even as I started using the command line, I was like, yeah, just Cloud Code for web. It feels easier. Like,
Yeah.
I'm used to that kind of interface. But as I got to the command line using IDEs, it puts me in the best position, like the most agile position to be powerful with whatever I'm doing. And uh, not there's going to be that journey for everybody, but since it's conversational,
Yeah.
everybody can get there. It's not about knowing which code to put in and use this language that you've never used before,
Yeah. No,
right? And
yeah.
that's why leaders, right? It's, for me, it's no different than, okay, we're a Microsoft shop, so everybody's got to learn how to use Excel. Everybody's got to learn how to use PowerPoint. We're using PCs, so sorry if you have a Mac at home, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna do work here, you got to learn. Doesn't matter how hard it is or how painful it is or whatever, right? And when you can see AI as just an infrastructure layer, like that's coming into the business, knowing that outcome where everybody, like the same reason the LLMs are so usable,
Yeah.
right? That chat interface, that conversational everybody can learn that.
Can I say something that might help somebody out there? Because we talk about like using, desktop Claude and the, Cloud Code on that. And we talk about terminal, PowerShell, using that and now like loving that. I think that there might be a historical mindset to like terminal equals code, terminal equals code equals nerd. I'm not a nerd. I don't open terminal. I can tell you that I don't use terminal for anything because of code. I actually use it for two specific reasons that I love. One is the ease of getting into plan mode before I execute anything. And two, the ease of doing a slash command to invoke a skill very specifically to the thing that we're about to do. And especially when you do those two things in combination. And so, like, if it just becomes an easier way, this is going to sound weird,
Yep.
but when terminal becomes just an easier way to communicate with the assistant to get
Yes.
the outcome that you're looking for with plan mode, with slash commands, also, and you're not thinking of it as nerdy code human. Now all of a sudden it's like, wow, this just makes sense. And by the way, it's super freaking quick. So there's
Yeah.
that.
It's by like that was the switch from Cloud Code for Web to locally.
Yeah.
Um, like it puts you both in the best position to do all of the things,
Yeah.
right? Like in Cloud Code for Web and in Cloud Desktop, like its AI has to be in a container where it doesn't have access to all the APIs and all the different software. Like it literally can't do, it doesn't have access to do all the things. When you bring it over here and it's, human plus AI working together,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
once you experience that, oh man.
It really is a hard feeling to describe. But when you're teaching people, which has been the other fun side of this I haven't talked about a lot, is like these mini activations of other humans that I've been able to have since being activated. It's hard to explain how you feel when you're going through it. It might even be more difficult to explain how you feel when you see somebody entering what you've been going through. And happiness, joy, excitement, like all of these things, because I as a human, I'm like, what are they going to create?
Yeah.
Like what are they going to be able to build? How, oh man, I see it in their eye. Like I see the ideas rolling. Like how are they going to change their life? And as historically the guy who has always been about, I want to see the ripples. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. We don't have to look hard either. Like we don't have
No.
to ask those questions. They just come back. Look at what I built.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, and that's the part. And I was, talking to a team yesterday and like in one person, like the champion, the digital person with all the, like the nerd, let's say, in the organization has been activated. Right. But to be able to translate that into imagine if every person in your organization like could do this. And that's why I
Yeah.
keep going back to the slides. It's very hard to bring that kind of like, well, a salesperson's not going to build apps. You can't ask them to build apps,
They could.
right? They can now,
Yeah.
but like finding that's why I'm stuck on the slides thing because everybody's making slides. You had to learn how to do that at some point. It's still not the favorite thing, but the immediate use case that came up as we were saying this is, yeah, we try so hard to create this branded slide deck that everybody can use and is standardized and blah, blah, blah. But every single time salesperson shows up, hey man, I need this thing like for this meeting
Yeah.
I'm about to have. I need to make these 3 changes, right? Imagine if they could just make those changes and you didn't have to worry about the files, like which files are we using, when, who did what, when, right?
Yeah.
It is powerful. And those are the things when you start to couple that with strategy and like responsiveness and personalization, right? It matched what we're saying is in line with every single growth and GTM and marketing and whatever kind of strategy they're hearing right now, where humans want personalized experiences when they want it and not when they don't. Like this is how you get to that experience in that agile state of just like you are the human that they can rely on because you have the domain expertise, you have the solution to the problem that inside and out. Now you can be in a position to act like immediately and be relevant, right? And be
Yeah.
present for them.
And the whole time you're saying that, I go back to speed to value, enabling all the humans in your organization to enhance the speed to value based on the augmenting of AI solutions inside your organization and casting off The old ways. Ooh, that sounded almost biblical. I'm just saying, come on, people, wake up. Like,
Yeah.
just wake up.
This is in line with every goal that a leader has right now. And it's up to you to, like, if you're not an enterprise, you can move as fast as you want to move here, right?
See, that makes me so sad that you even said that,
I mean,
but it's true.
yeah,
It's
we
true.
have to manage people. So, all right, folks. We hope that you enjoyed this 7-parter as far as, getting these commitments out the door. It's there for everybody. So hopefully we helped you understand that. If you have any questions on how, like, you want to get activated or how you want to activate the people around you, like, don't hesitate to reach out. Love to help you with something like that. Until next time, thanks so much, George.
Peace out. Thanks, Chris.